Dominic Cummings resigns and we talk about its impact on Brexit and the country.
But before we get into the video, guys, as you know, the lockdowns and the economic crisis have been hitting individuals and businesses, small businesses such as Fresh Essential. A couple of English guys based in the country. For the past 5 years, they've been providing luxurious food to restaurants and hotels like the Ritz. But because of the current situation, they've been forced to go online and actually sell directly to consumers. They've reached out to me to obviously try their products. It's absolutely amazing. They've got granola, they've got the fire roasted nuts, and these are the products that you can't actually find usually because they sell it directly as suppliers to the Ritz and all these luxury hotels. But they've been kind enough to actually give us a special discount code for you guys. I'm not getting anything out of this actually, but I'll put the link to the website in the description with the special discount code Maya10. Just try it for yourself, support small British businesses, and together, let's survive this lockdown.
Hello everyone and welcome to the second video of the night. We've just heard in the last half an hour that Dominic Cummings has resigned and actually officially left Downing Street tonight. Everybody was expecting him to stay until the end of the year, as he had previously mentioned. Now, over the last few hours, and actually the last 24 hours, it's been a bit of a chaotic situation in the mainstream media and Downing Street because nobody knew what was exactly happening. Nobody was actually expecting him to leave immediately, and he actually, just the picture we have from about half an hour ago where he was leaving with his box, and he did it on purpose because he could have used the back door, he could have used the basement, the corridor that goes to the cabinet office. He didn't do that. He wanted to make a scene because the conflict between Carrie Symonds, Boris Johnson's fiancée, and the rest of the Vote Leave side escalated. Now the Vote Leave side have been ousted. So Lee Kane, the Director of Communications, who resigned yesterday, he was also supposed to stay in office until the end of December. He's also left today. So they both stormed out. And the Vote Leave side have completely now lost, this is the Brexit side of Downing Street, they've completely lost control of the whole operation. And the government is in turmoil again. No one exactly knows what's going to be happening. There's a lot of speculations from the mainstream media. And before I talk about the consequences, especially on the Brexit negotiations, on the whole agenda that the government have, what's going to be happening with everything else, got to get into that. But before, let's talk about the last few hours because the media have been all over the place. Firstly, Sky News. I've been loving it because they've been creating a dramatic atmosphere. On their website, front page, everything you see is about Dominic Cummings as if nothing else is happening in the country. You know, there are no issues. Everyone's fine. There's nothing important going on. It's all about Dominic Cummings and this political gossip that's going on in Westminster. We even had an opinion piece written by Beth Rigby on Sky News. I'm not even going to actually read this because it's absolutely nonsense. But yeah, Sky News now do opinion pieces as well these days. Anyway, so you know that. But going back to what was happening, all these journalists, all the mainstream commentators have been going around. Half of them have been saying that, oh, this is obviously chaotic and it's unexpected that he's going. He's been, he's resigned or he's been fired. The other half have been saying that, oh, he's always said that he was going to go by the end of the year. Well, it seems like both sides have been wrong about this because no one was expecting tonight's event. So Tom Newton-Dunn said, I'm told that Boris Johnson's last roll of dice, Dominic Cummings' last roll of dice, was to try to persuade Boris Johnson to appoint another number 10 ally and his deputy, Cleo Watson, as the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, and Boris refused again. And then it was agreed that Dominic should leave. So that came. And then Tom again tweeted that the final straw for the Prime Minister appears to be the lockdown leak inquiry, which number 10 insiders say is leading to Kane and Cummings as an attempt to bounce him into it. So this is, again, they've been speculating all these things. All these rumors have been going around. No one really knows the truth. But what we know for sure is Boris Johnson has been invisible as a leader. Nothing's actually being heard from him. Secondly, who's going to be running the show now? Is it Carrie Symonds? Is it going to be the new chief of staff? Is it going to be the Prime Minister? Probably not. Or it could be the Cabinet Secretary. We have to wait and see. But Lewis Goodall is also loving it from BBC, saying that so either the Prime Minister really thought that it was all worth it defending Dominic Cummings back in the summer, for obviously Cummings' contribution for those 7 months since the Cummings Gate and Barnard Castle, or it wasn't actually the plan for him to go all along at Christmas. This was last night at 11:30, and so he was obviously saying that, oh, we didn't know that Dominic Cummings wanted to go at the end of the year by Christmas. I mean, you knew, everybody knew, because he already said it in his blog. He actually did mention this, that, I want to basically get everything done by the end of the year, especially Brexit and the Whitehall reforms, and then get out. But then he's also, Lewis Goodall's then picked a section of the blog saying that in January, Mr. Cummings wrote his infamous Weirdos and Misfits blog. So obviously, this is the blog where he was advertising for a job in Downing Street. And but it was also in the same blog that Dominic Cummings said that I want to basically make myself redundant. I want to get everything done and leave. Actually, Laura Koonsberg from the BBC said this, that Dominic has told her that my position hasn't changed since my January blog, when he planned to make himself redundant by the end of 2020. This is also the tweet from last night. So until this point, everybody thought that Dominic is still staying until the end of the year, and then he's going to leave. But then again, half an hour ago, everything changed. Both Lee Kane and Dominic Cummings have now completely left and ignored their notice period, which is quite surprising and not really sure. No one really knows what's going on inside. Again, this news just came out. But again, according to his own blog back in January, he was planning to leave by Christmas, but he was planning to actually have his notice period and leave in peace. But clearly that didn't happen tonight. Now, the issue that we have is that all the journalists, even The Sun, has been talking about how Dominic Cummings will quit by Christmas after having his wings clipped by Boris Johnson. Again, this article came out before what happened half an hour ago. But then, Harry Cole is suggesting that his wings were clipped by Boris Johnson. We don't really know if there were actually the sort of arguments that happened inside was because Dominic Cummings had demands, or Boris Johnson was forced by Carrie Simmons, for example, or something like that. All of this is political gossip. And the most important thing is the consequences and impact it's going to have on our lives. And everything else that's been happening in the country, from the Brexit trade talks to the lockdown policy, to the economic crisis, the recession. Are we going to go with high taxes, borrowing? Are we going to actually create a more of an austerity program? Or are we going to go with the green revolution, the green agenda? Obviously, we know that Lee Kane was close friends with David Frost, Lord Frost, who's the chief negotiator for Brexit. And there were suggestions that Lord Frost could also leave last night. Obviously, he didn't. But things again could change, considering half an hour ago, everything completely transformed from this peaceful evening of, okay, Lee Kane is going to stay until the end of the year and Dominic Cummings might leave, he's going to stay till the end of the year. They both have immediately left tonight. Now, the whole point is that the Vote Leave faction of Downing Street, people like Cummings, people like Lee Kane and others, have been running the main agenda. This is how it seemed. But again, people who have criticized these guys, especially Lee Kane as the director of comms, for the chaos and the PR disaster that the government have had over the last few months, there have been people who have said it's not actually their fault that the messaging has been quite weak. It's because the policy is weak. The lockdown policies have been confusing. No one really knows what's happening with the traffic light policy, the tier-based system, and whether we're going to have, at the time, are we going to have a lockdown? Are we going to have it next week? Are we going to have it today? So you can't blame everything on the communications team. Some sort of responsibility should go to ministers as well. But this is the latest that we have. And actually, the Brexit trade talks are continuing until the end of December. Everybody was hoping that Lee Kane and Dominic Cummings could stay and actually at least get that done. We still have Lord Frost in place, unless he also leaves, I don't know. But it's quite dangerous because we have that going on. And with what's happening in the United States, with Joe Biden potentially becoming president, we have to wait and see how that goes. And the consequences on the trade talks with the European Union. Everything's happening at the same time, and it's not looking good. But it's okay, because we're here to keep you guys positive and remain optimistic and keep you actually up to date with everything that's been going on, because the mainstream media are not reporting things properly. They're just talking about gossip instead of the actual implications on your everyday lives. But before I finish, don't forget to check out Fresh Essential. It's a small British business that I truly believe in and support, and I hope that you guys could also support them. All the details are in the description box with the discount code MAYA10. Check it out on MAYATC, and I'll see you guys in the next video.